would have made throughout the years in the agricultural sector, and we look forward to your continued contribution. But it will be remiss of me not to recognize especially the hard-working staff of this institution, this facility, who would have put in the selfless hours, sacrificed, commitment, the skills, the resources. It wasn't easy as we might think it is. I understand it is, Alice, how much? 40-something thousand plants this year? Or Alice is telling me it's more than that. So to put all of this together for distribution is never an easy activity. So I want us to acknowledge them via a round of applause for the commitment and all of the work that they would have put in. I do not want to miss anybody, so please forgive me if I did not give to you your due recognition, but I want to say it again, for everyone who would have made that commitment, made that sacrifice, who would have been that key stakeholder, the persons the ministry would have called on from time to time, or the persons that would have called the ministry from time to time, just to lend the support to making this agricultural sector what it is. We just want to applaud you for your commitment, for your work, and for all the other things that you would have done towards the development of the agricultural sector. Just a few housekeeping matters. Most of you probably would be acquainted with it, but it is necessary that I point you. The washroom facilities is across to my right, that building right over there, so in case anybody needs to, you will find it right over there. It was only last night, I was just reading through my emails and what have you, and I came across a very interesting article, and I think it is worthy just to mention, because just our neighbors next door, Trinidad, the Trinidad Express, and there was an article there that speaks expressly to the fact that customers need to get acquainted with high food prices. And this is the reality of the times in which we live. And Trinidad, just a couple years ago, which would have boasted and pride themselves in the energy sector, is now singing altogether a different tune. It is the agricultural sector now. The government and the people of Trinidad is really looking towards to basically turn the fortunes around. And while we are here today, we should never see it as a light matter. What we are doing here is transformational. It is important. The plants might be given at a subsidized price and what have you, but the effect that is expected at the end of the day is basically revolutionary. The country's economy and the future of this country is at stake. So let us use this activity as something that will propel us, to cause us to think differently, to have a paradigm shift in the way we see agriculture. Just before, I think it was sometime last week, as we made preparation for today's activity, we was thinking of the fact that we want this year's activity, and I know Ms. Haynes will say some more about it, to be different from other years. We really want to create a new paradigm from this year's plans distribution. We want to see the impact of what we are doing here today. And the ministry will take the lead. The ministry will make every effort to see that what we would have done here today, what we would have invested so much time and effort in making a reality today, will bring the returns that we so expect. But I guess as much throughout this morning's activity, the various speakers will say much more on that, but I thought it was important just to give this little preamble. Most of you would have already heard of the unfortunate passing, and some may even say the untimely passing of a brother, a man who would have made tremendous sacrifice over the years towards the sector. And I speak of no other than Mr. Matthias Joseph. He is or was one of us. His work, his contribution is recognized, and we want to give it its true respect at this time as I invite you to stand and let us have a minute of silence in this regard. It is 10:28 on my clock. I'll ask you that we remain absolutely silent up to 10:29. Starting now. Thank you. Matthias was one of those persons that always wear a smile, always upbeat and optimistic. The little that I know about him, I could speak of his love and his commitment towards the sector. Let us just give a round of applause for his sacrifice, his contribution towards the development of the agriculture sector. I also want to recognize Mr. Keto. Sir, we acknowledge your presence with us here today. Thank you for coming. On the program, there is a place for some remarks by the chairperson. I think I would have given a little preamble. There is not much that I want to say here in these few moments other than to give some sort of, I don't want to use the word direction or directive, but just out of my heart, because I haven't prepared anything, but I think I just could speak out of my heart as the chairperson on this. Because knowing what the figures are and the commitment and the sacrifice that has been placed into this year's activity, most persons will come from time to time, from year to year, and probably what the ministry would not have done effectively is to implore, is to communicate to the stakeholders, and I speak specifically to the farmers, of the cost that is incurred in the preparation of these plants. And though the plants are being sold at what we'll call a sort of subsidized price, a lot have been placed in making this a reality. The monies that would have been expended would exceed the $1 million mark if we were to put it at the true costing of it. The time, the sacrifice, the commitment, the skill. I recall Ms. Haynes sharing with us at one time in preparing for some plants. Nawasa would have took the water for a week and they could not have irrigated, and all these plants, I think it was either 7,000 or something like that, seedling, just perish. And it had to be redone again. So it is never an easy activity in making this plant propagation and distribution exercise. It costs a lot of time, it costs a lot of resource and what have you. And my remarks, my encouragement basically center on this. Take care of the plants. Take care of the plants. As I would have said earlier, the ministry is going to lead the initiative this year to follow up, to make sure that the investment, to make sure that the sacrifice that has been put into this initiative yield the expected outcome. Not like in previous years where persons would have took plants and would have cared for the plants in a way that is, not accepted, in a way that is not suitable, and they would not have yielded their production, they would not have yielded what we were expecting of them. We definitely are going to change that paradigm this year. We are going to follow up. So it's not a warning, but it's just an advice to you farmers that will be receiving plants this year, that the ministry will be on your back this year to make sure that these plants are cared for. I want to also say, and I don't know if I can, but I definitely will say it nonetheless, that we are going to put together an audit system moving forward. And I think that audit system is necessary because you cannot have persons receiving those plants as a subsidized price and coming back next year receiving those same plants year after year, and there is no mechanism in place to say, hey, you have received 1,000 plants. What has happened to those plants? So we are going to take greater accountability. We are going to implement more measures to make sure that these plants are cared for and these plants yield their expected output. This is not just an exercise for the sake of, just doing something. Plant distribution is one of the ministry's most successful program. It's one of the things that will deliver exceptionally well year after year. And if nobody is going to sing our song and blow our trumpet, we are going to blow it from this podium. Because every year we have come here and we have delivered plans, we have delivered. And I just want to take this opportunity, impromptu, to just acknowledge the effort of the ministry again, because it is something we would have delivered on time and time again. Regardless of what you might hear of work ethic and what have you within the ministry, this is an activity we have never failed the farming community with. For how many years I can recall, every year we were able to deliver on this. So I just want to acknowledge that. But as I said, we have a list of persons who will do a much greater and better job than I can in expounding on what has been done and the direction in which we want to take this thing. So at this moment, without any further ado, I want to invite to the podium Ms. Alison Haynes, agronomist and manager of the Maribor Propagating Station, to give some remarks. Ms. Haynes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good morning to all. Chairman of today's proceedings, Mr. Jimmy Lindsay, Honorable Peter David, Minister of Agriculture and Lands and Forestries, Mr. Elvis Moraine, Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Senator Roderick Sinclair, Farmers Representative in the Senate, His Excellency Wei Yongxiang, Ambassador of the People's Republic of China, representative of the support organizations such as CARDI, AICA, the Chinese Agricultural Mission, representative from the commodity boards, GCA, GCNA, and MNIB, representative from JEF, UNDP, SIEP, and the AgriCom projects, agricultural input suppliers, other specially invited guests, farmers, officers from the various divisions of the Ministry of Agriculture, representative of the Ministry of Carriacou and Petit-Martinique Affairs, workers of the Agronomy Division, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Okay. Today I am pleased to announce that after another year of strategic planning, meticulous coordination of activities, and hard work, the propagating stations are ready to distribute plants to the farming community and public. This year, we have a total of 58,260 plants available for sale at the beginning of the distribution season. That's right now. We have over 14,000 nutmeg, 9,000 cocoa, 8,000 soursop, 3,000 cloves, 3,000 ginger, 2,000 mangoes, 1,000 avocado, 500 breadfruit, 7,000 different ornamental plants, and 8,000 species of minor fruits, as well as over 4,900 minor spices that will be available for sale from today, as of today. The minor fruits and spices includes plants like guava, governor plum, ackee, cherry, passion fruit, granadilla, chin up or skin up, poadu, mami apple, sapodilla, sapot, pimento, cardamom, cinnamon, vanilla, and black pepper, just to name a few. A further 31,372 plants will be ready for sale between September and December 2021. This includes over 8,000 soursop, 6,000 nutmeg, 3,000 cocoa, 700 golden apples, and 10,000 plantains. Ladies and gentlemen, despite the challenges faced with the procurement of soil, shortage of labor, sourcing science material and seeds for propagation, and challenges faced with the COVID-19 pandemic and the health issues of the workers, because a few of our workers are aging now, this year we were able to propagate an increased number of plants from last year. For the 2020 plant distribution season, 60,375 plants were propagated. And this year, a total of 89,632 plants will be propagated, an increase in production of 29,257 plants. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, plants propagated by the stations are highly subsidized, as mentioned by the chairman. A plant propagated here at the station costs in excess of $20 to propagate or to produce. However, the majority of our plants are sold at $5. The operational cost of producing the 89,632 plants propagated this year is estimated to be about EC $1,792,640. This is a substantial investment that the Ministry of Agriculture and by extension the government has placed into plant propagation to ensure that plants are available to farmers and the public. This year the ministry we have also made significant investment in upgrading the nursery here at the station in order to deliver superior plants to the farming community and build resilience to climate change. New shade netting was installed on all of the nurseries to reduce the intensity of the sunlight, thus improving the growing environment for the young plants. In addition, the floor area within the nurseries were all resurfaced to improve drainage and make the nurseries safer for the workers. The ministry has plans to continue to upgrade and enhance the propagation facilities until the environment within the nurseries are tailored to meet the ideal requirements of the plants, thereby reducing mortality and improving the quality of the plants that we propagate on the stations. The ministry has met its obligations to propagate and supply various quantities of quality plants to farmers. Now, it is the farmers' obligation to care for those plants by establishing their plots or groves following the recommended agronomic and climate-smart practices. I believe that caring for the plants and following best practices are the only ways in which farmers can truly demonstrate their appreciation for the highly subsidized plants. The Ministry of Agriculture, through its Extension Service, will continue to support farmers and will continue to follow up on the plants that we distribute this year. We will continue to build capacity in the area of tree crop management and to introduce new and appropriate technologies to farmers so that we'll be able to yield maximum production from the trees, from the tree crops and spices that we supply to the farmers. This will enable our nation's farmers to better adapt to climate change and increase their productivity and profitability levels. Farmers, expect regular visits from your extension officers to follow up on the plans, to provide technical support on lining the plots and caring for the plants. In the upcoming months, the ministry, in collaboration with our partners, AICA, CADI, SIEP, UNDP, FAO, etc., we will be hosting a number of capacity building training for farmers in tree crop management and production. Many times, these excellent trainings are organized and they happen, and I am often disappointed and saddened by the level of participation of the farmers. I encourage you farmers to make every effort to attend the training that are organized for you. The ministry we also have dispatched a spray team in the field to support the commercial farmers with the management of pests affecting bananas in particular and soursop and some of the other tree crops as well, but mainly bananas and soursop. All right, so farmers, you will see our presence in the field. We will be following up on the plans to ensure that you benefit from the plans that you purchase here today and the country at large benefit. In terms of the distribution procedure, so although we are going to declare the season, our Honorable Minister will declare the season open today, we will only begin the sale of plants from Tuesday, August 3rd, 2021, until plants are no longer available. Persons who have filled out and submitted their application forms to the ministry will receive their plants within the next 2 weeks. Applicants will be contacted using the phone numbers on the forms to inform you of the date and time and the station where the plants should be collected. Information on the sale of plants will be broadcasted via radio and the ministry's Facebook page, so please listen to the radio and check the Facebook page periodically. For persons without any application form, sale of plants will be open to the public from Monday, August 16th. Plants will be sold every day of the week from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. as long as plants are available. Farmers, please come to purchase your plants early. After every day, at the close of every day, we must deposit the monies in the treasury, so we need time to do that. So we want you to come to purchase your plants early, right? Preferably in the morning period. The Ministry of Health COVID-19 protocol will be observed during the entire distribution season on all stations. Please ensure that you're wearing your appropriate face covering and maintain the recommended 6 feet social distancing. In closing today, I want to thank the supervisors and workers of the 4 stations, that's Ashinden, Bolong, Maran, and Maribo, for their hard work and overwhelming level of commitment to their job. Plants like clove and nutmeg takes more than 2 years to propagate. Propagation of these plants began in 2019. Some of you workers came out to pot and care for the plants throughout the entire period of the lockdown. It was a great sacrifice on your part. Without your sacrifice and effort, there would be no clove or pimento for the distribution this year. Thanks, workers, for your effort. Special recognition to the Pest Management Unit for their support in monitoring and managing the pests and diseases on the station. Thanks to the Extension Division for helping with planning today's event and for their usual support with the sale of plants. Thanks to the Chinese Agricultural Mission for their support in the form of their donation of the greenhouses, shade netting, small machinery, and propagation tools to the station. Thanks to the farmers who have assisted us with planting materials, that's the seeds and material and cuttings. Thanks to Renegade Rum for their donation of soil and bagasse for medium preparation. And thanks to the GCNA for providing us with the nutmeg seeds. As always, I would like my final words to be one of encouragement to farmers. So as I close, farmers, I urge and encourage you to take care of the plants so that our nation would continue to lead in the production and export of quality spices. It's a nutmeg and the cocoa. So that we'll be able to meet the increasing demand for soursop on the international market. And that we'll be well positioned to take advantage of any market opportunities that may arise. And most importantly, take care of the plants so that our nation will be able to have access to healthy and nutritious fruits. I thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Haynes. And you would have heard the figures from Ms. Haynes herself. Just want to reiterate, I pay particular attention to 1.7 million that was expended on this year's initiative. I paid particular attention to the fact that over 29,000 more plants were propagated this year compared to the last year. And I think that in itself is deserving of a round of applause. The commitment speaks for itself in the numbers. I just want to go back to a few things before I invite the feature speaker, Honorable Peter David, to do his remark. To that article that I read, because something about it resonates with me, and I think the reality haven't come home as yet. And that is the issue of food inflation. But if you are observant, you will note the changes in the supermarkets. You will note the changes. Almost all commodities would have experienced an increase in price this year alone. And it is being said repeatedly by the various organizations, the FAO, the World Bank, and all of these international organizations, that food prices are not going to come down. The world needs to brace itself for sustained increase in food prices. So what we are doing here is critical. I must emphasize that. It is necessary. Because one of the problems that our neighbor is facing is the fact that they do not have the foreign exchange, the US dollars, to buy food. Serious problem in Trinidad. Those of you are aware of it will understand what I'm speaking of. Because the energy sector that they relied on at one time is not what it once was. And that is where their foreign exchange would have come from. Our foreign exchange basically comes from two sources. We have tourism and we have agriculture. Our role here is about agriculture. In order to sustain this nation's development, the agricultural sector is critical. Our export earnings is critical, that we may be able to purchase the things that we need. Never before in our history, and I'm a young person, but probably I could be built out by somebody else that is older than me, that the issue of food security is as critical as it is today. We need those plants to generate the expected output in the field that we can export, we can generate revenues that we can purchase, and that we can be able to sustain ourselves as a nation. But without any further ado, and with these remarks, I would want to invite to the podium Honorable Peter David to do his remarks. Let us welcome him as he comes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And thank you, Alison, for that very in-depth and very profound analysis of what you're doing here. Senator, my dear brother, the Honorable Roderick Sinclair, Farmers and Fishers Representative in the Senate, His Excellency, Mr. Wei Ho-Chian, Ambassador of the People's Republic of China, Mr. Elvis Moraine, our Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Lands and Forestry, Ms. Alison Haynes, Chief Agronomist, representatives from CARDI, ICA, the Chinese Cultural Mission. I see my brother's the chair of GCNA. I can't remember which one. Yeah, I know. I always tell him it's one association. But anyway, I know my brother William this cocoa and my brother Kato it's nutmeg. But sometimes I mix it up. They know what I'm talking about. My dear brother Reginald Andal and my brother Derek Charles, Ika and Kadi, Afia Joseph, our new head of the, and very passionate head of the Marketing and National Importing Board. My brother Jude Hector, Adult and Teen Challenge, doing excellent work to rehabilitate young people and get young people involved in agriculture. Welcome here today. Senior staff at the Ministry of Agriculture, staff at Maribo, farmers, specially invited guests, my brother Sam from the Chinese Mission and his team, members of the media, the young lady who played the pan. Is she here or is she gone? Well, I noticed that she was some angel harps. So while we don't have any farmers in town, we have good pan people in town. Give the lady a round of applause, sorry, please. That's the only way town people can get a clap in agricultural activities. We don't have any farmers just yet. Although I spoke to my sister Laurie to get some backyard farming going in the town of St. George soon. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. First of all, let me join those in extending deepest condolences to the family of Brother Matthias. In fact, I didn't know, I heard the name and I didn't know who he was until my brother, I said, show me a picture. And I realized he's one gentleman, every time I came to any activity, he'd pull me aside and talk very passionately about agriculture. I really felt, when I saw the picture this morning, I felt it. So to his family, to the GCNA and GCA family, I want to extend my deepest condolences to all of you on his passing. I'm extremely heartened to join you this morning as we come together to officially open the 2021 plant distribution season. It is especially gratifying to me as this is my first address at this very important activity, an activity that is so keenly anticipated by farmers and households alike. Friends, as I ponder on this event and what it signifies, the words of the 26th American President Theodore Roosevelt comes to mind. To exist as a nation, to prosper as a state, to live as a people, we must have trees. Therefore, comrades, the Ministry of Agriculture, through its plant propagation program, is invested in Grenada's security, its prosperity, harmony, and its very existence. Propagating the trees of tomorrow is a clear indication of hope in the future. Despite the many challenges that confront us, such as the continuing COVID-19 pandemic, government foresees a promising future for agriculture and is committed to doing all that is within its power to make that future a reality. Ladies and gentlemen, plant propagation and distribution is but one weapon in the armory of developmental initiatives geared toward growing and sustaining the agricultural sector of this country. This past Monday, the ministry commenced the 2021 Farm Labor Support Program. The ministry increased the allocation to this program from 1.35 million in 2020 to 1.5 million in this financial year. That is despite COVID. The plant propagation and farm labor support programs work in tandem. As we clear and prepare lands for planting, we make available the plants necessary for establishing the fields. The ministry is also investing in the rehabilitation of the Grambra and Bungrul estates and strengthening our collaboration with the private investor at Bellevue Estate to expand the cultivation of tree crops as well as other food crops. These initiatives are critical to strengthening our national food system. Friends, this year the United Nations has placed much focus on strengthening food systems. In fact, in September, the United Nations, will host a food systems summit at the UN headquarters in New York, where a 10-year plan of action for achieving the Sustainable Development Goals will be drafted. It is therefore important that we put systems in place at the national level so that we can avail ourselves of the resources offered by regional and international bodies. Comrades, government's investment in the plant propagation is substantial. I've been told that 40 years ago a plant cost EC $10 to produce. That same plant now costs around EC $32 to produce. That is a 320% increase in cost over the years. Friends, we continue to sell plants to you at a cost ranging from $1 to EC $5. That is a subsidy of EC $27 to $31 per plant, or a discount of 84 to 97%. This year, the stations will produce in excess of 90,000 plants. More than 52,000 of that quantity is now available for sale. If we accept that the cost of production of one plant is EC $32, the ministry will expend $2.8 million on the production of planting material alone. Friends, on those 90,000 plants, government is providing an effective subsidy of EC $2.41 to EC $241 to EC $2.7 million. Comrades, I make mentions of these numbers to say to us that the investment we make in the production of planting material is very significant, and that investment must be valued and must bring returns. We cannot afford to waste the resources in the best of times, and we are nowhere at this time in the best of times. Therefore, even greater care must be taken of the limited resources presently available. I must therefore implore our farmers to value the investment that government is making in plant propagation by planting and caring for the plants. Ensure that they survive and bear fruit. It is the only guarantee a return on this significant investment. To the staff of the Ministry of Agriculture, I must say that we must strengthen our monitoring systems to ensure that we keep track of the farmers who bought plants and provide the necessary support to ensure that the percentage of plants that survive reaches or nears 100%. Much effort and resources have been expended to produce the plants. Therefore, the farmers and the ministry must now work collaboratively to ensure that these plants thrive and produce at optimum levels. This is the return on investment that we all desire. The ministry data shows that over 200,000 plants were produced between 2018 and 2020. What is the current status of those plants? Who are the farmers who bought them? In which geographic areas were those plants planted? Friends, this type of information is critical, not only for guiding the plant propagation program, but for planning in general. Folks, it cannot be business as usual. If anything COVID-19 has taught us is that we must be better prepared and better organized. If we fail to apply the lessons learned this time, we will be even more exposed and more vulnerable if and when shocks in the future impact us. Let us commit to doing better as we go forward. Friends, the opening of plant propagation, plant distribution signifies a new season of planting with faith in the expectation of great harvest to come. In this new season, the Ministry of Agriculture is planting seeds which could yield great harvest of growth for the agricultural sector if we all do our part to nurture them. Ladies and gentlemen, it would be remiss of me if I didn't pay special commendation to Ms. Alison Haynes and the staff at the various propagation stations. I want to give her a round of applause. In spite of the many challenges, Alison and her team have worked diligently to ensure that our farmers have clean and healthy plants for this year's planting season. We really owe them a debt of gratitude. I also want to use the opportunity to thank the People's Republic of China, and through you, Ambassador, to them for their assistance with providing us with the smart greenhouse located at La Sagesse. As we are all aware, it is the largest greenhouse in the Caribbean area, particularly in the OECS area, and we do use to hope that, to use that, along with this Maribo station to expand our agricultural production. So please extend our deepest gratitude to the People's Republic for their help and the help that the Chinese mission is providing in general. I want to thank, before I close, I want to thank everyone, and that is for me. When I became the Minister of Agriculture, I knew nothing. Now I pretend to be an expert. The fact is, I could not know what I know now without all of the people around me. I've been listening, learning, and the truth is, and I say this from my heart, coming into the Ministry of Agriculture has provided me with a new lease on life. I am extremely happy to be in agriculture, not simply because of the importance of the agricultural sector to our national development, but also because agriculture provides me an opportunity to see things grow, to know what happens when you really plant a seed and when you really do hard work. So I want to thank all of you, from the staff at the ministry, the permanent secretary, my dear brother, the senator, everyone here, the members of the boards, the commodity boards, everyone in this room who has in one way or another come forward to me and have discussions with me. I want to thank you for giving me what I now know about agriculture. In addition, I want to thank you for the support. Without your support, without you coming to me and being frank with me and telling me what needs to be done, because the truth is, and I've come to learn this, there is a lot to be done in agriculture. And the truth is that in order for agriculture to take its rightful place, all of us must insist on that. I say all the time, I say this everywhere I speak, that every household, every person, every sector must understand the importance of agriculture. Agriculture is truly what we used to say about tourism, and we now say about both of them, everybody's business. And I want to repeat something else, that there is no struggle or war between agriculture and tourism. Tourism provides the market for us to feed, and we provide the food that they eat. In other words, the two sectors are both pillars in our economic development. And not only must the government treat it that way, but each of us. I say to households, don't send off the kids who do well in school to study engineering and medicine. Send them off to study agriculture too. Don't say that the guys who are doing well in school, well, you do this, but you ain't doing so well, so you do agriculture. Look, piece of land. Agriculture is good business. And unless each and every household, each and every person recognizes that, then we won't develop the way we could. But I want to thank you again. Sorry for going off script and expressing my passion. I want to thank all of you for the wonderful job you're doing in helping me to become an agriculture minister. Thank you. In closing, let me say this. The plants have been propagated and now are available for sale. Let us now do the planting, the caring, and the nurturing so that the harvest can be great. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your kind attention. I now officially declare open, and all the speech I just gave was simply to say this. I want to now declare open the plant distribution season 2021. Thank you, and may God bless you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. To be honest with you, the off-script part was the most enjoyable part of the speech because you spoke from your heart. And yeah, thank you for those words. And one of the things I like doing in activities like that is to look for the theme throughout different persons' presentation. And I pay particular attention to the fact that the minister would have identified that it is not business as usual. Ms. Haynes would have said the same thing. And at some point earlier, I would have alluded to the fact. So I just want to bring that to the attention of the farmers among us and those that are listening via the various media platforms. We are committed to making this year's activity different. we are committed to seeing a paradigm shift. It is not business as usual, and I'm pleased that the minister would have brought it forth as clearly as he would have done. We would have had some time just sitting back, listening to the various ones of us speaking and so forth, so I think it is most appropriate now to invite again Ms. Anisha Howard to just come and do your thing, Ms. Howard. I don't even know what word to use. You have been so good in rendering to us the national anthem, and I just anticipate another wonderful rendition from you. Let us welcome her again. Somebody want to help me with the mic? I don't know if you want to use. Yeah. You can't. Oh, I'm told that you cannot. It's okay. Oh. Thank you, Ms. Howard. Let us just recognize her again. I think she would have done wonderful. Keeping with the theme for today's activity, I will want to invite to the podium our beloved PS to appraise us on the initiative of the Stop Predia Larceny campaign. And I need not to say anything more on this. We all understand what is happening in the sector with regards to Predia Larceny. It is one of the most serious and pressing issues the sector is faced with today. P.S. Morin, I invite you to come and brief us on what is taking place in this initiative.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Honorable Peter David, Minister for Agriculture, Lands, Forestry, and Labor, Senator Roderick St. Clair, Farmers and Fishers Representative in the Senate, Ms. Alison Haynes, Chief Agronomist, and of course, Manager of this facility, Mr. Reginald Andal and Mr. Derek Charles from CADI and ICA respectively, Pastor Christopher Williams and Mr. Cato, chairpersons of the commodity boards, that is GCA and GCNA respectively, Mr. Baron Campbell, manager of SIAP, and of course team, Ambassador Wei Ontian of the People's Republic of China, Ms. Afia Joseph of the Marketing Board and other members, members from the UNDP team locally, members of the Ministry or officers of the Ministry of Agriculture, farmers, members of the media. Good morning to you all. Now, my task is a simple one. But before I delve into it, I want to join with the chairperson as well as the minister in commending Alison and her team at this facility, but also at the other propagation facilities throughout Grenada. And I am very passionate about this for the simple reason. I recalled at the peak of the lockdown, you know, when we had to seek, in many respects, permission from the police to have these workers traverse every day when most people were home to ensure that today's activity is a realization. I want to also ask you to put your hands together for them. So today we're about to speak relative to the Peter Lasny issue. And before I go into the campaign, the launch of the campaign, I just want to highlight some of the things that happened, but more so stemming out of the amendment to the Peter Lasny Act, which made a few things, and I think not many persons might be aware of it, but I just want to just go through it. So one, the amendments proposed to increase the penalty for the offense of damage to produce, increase the penalty for the offense of dishonesty, receiving predial produce, increase the penalty for the offense of vagrancy in respect to Peter Lasny, forfeiture and sale of any agricultural produce or vehicle or other conveyance seized in relation to the offense of conviction, after conviction, sorry. The restitution and the sale or disposal of and compensation for perishable agricultural produce. Empower the minister to issue an identification card in addition to the certificate of registration. Increase the penalty for failing to comply with the provisions relating to a memorandum of sale or delivery. Extension of powers granted thereunder to a rural constable or any other person designated in writing by the minister, and the constitution of a Peter Lasny Management Unit and the Peter Lasny Management Committee. I recall when all those discussions were taking place, persons are still of the opinion that with all of those amendments, they are not sure as to whether or not it will stem the issue of Peter Lasny. What we need actually is a cultural shift in addressing the issue of Peter Lasny. Minister ended his statement by saying agriculture is everybody's business. In the same way, Peter Lasny is everybody's business. So the launch of the Stop Peter Lasny campaign has some main objectives. One, to stimulate interest and awareness among key audiences. To facilitate a change of thinking and attitude or behavior. To stir action among key audiences and wider stakeholders. Give general and group-specific information about the benefits of meeting the anti-Peter Lasny requirements. And 5, publicize the progress, success, and feedback of the Stop Peter Lasny campaign, which is what is branded as. Now, interesting, data from the Royal Grenada Police Force shows, in terms of as it relates to agriculture, the top 3 offenses which are reported in order are Peter Lasny, damage to crop, and of course the stealing of livestock. The crops targeted are mainly soursop, citrus, vegetables, avocado, and of course nutmeg. Now, we have done a few things already in terms of the campaign. So 1, set up a Facebook page. 2, we have started the installation of billboards in Peter Lasny hotspots. And at this time, I want to ask Senator Roderick St. Clair and Minister to assist me in unveiling one of the billboards on this side there. So, gentlemen, can you assist me, please? Yes, you can go ahead. All right, so it is simple, and we just want to address those issues. Now, let me just, as a disclaimer, you might see some animals there, and I know people will say Peter Lasny is not part of animals, but we believe that some people have it, you know, so we just put it there because we want to address everything else. So as a disclaimer, let me just say that up front. All right? So let's put our hands together again for Senator and Minister. Now at this time, we are going to entertain 2 testimonials, and one from a police officer, and one from our famous PR person from Original, that is Mike Noel. So Mikey, once you're ready, can you queue up for us, please, the testimonials? Let's just listen. No, not that one. Wait, go down, please. We take the jingle last. The testimonials. No, we have it recorded. It's a recorded testimonial. Yeah.
Mike Noel has been speaking to farmers for 3 decades and was awarded an MBE for his important service to the banana and nutmeg industries. Then, as now, he has a word, this time against the scourge of agricultural theft.
I see it as destroying the people who till this island. So what I will say is that we should try our best to see that that sort of thing do not continue to happen in our society. I am appealing to the people, thieves in fact, the people who are stealing people's crop, to refrain from doing that. Because what you are doing is preventing people from getting a livelihood, so they and their family can survive.
Stop Grenada's organized business crime. It's time.
So,
to report Peter Lasny, call 300.
we're going to listen to the other one. That is from a police officer.
It will destroy our economy.
From day to day, I see the suffering of the farmers, the cries, the tears, you know, have to wake up early in the morning and wait for your produce to harvest, and when you reach there, you realize that it's gone. I am appealing to persons who may be thinking of committing acts of greed and larceny, that they should cease. Because greed and larceny can carry many offenses with it. You know the frustration of a farmer, he goes there, he meets you on the farm, you never know what would happen. So I'm appealing to persons. Farmers invest a lot. You know, they invest money, they invest their time, and when they look for the produce to harvest and to bring in an income for their family, and when they get there, it's gone. You know, the suffering that they endure, I myself can't even understand. So we are the Greed and Larceny team of officers. We are appealing to persons. If you have intention of going and steal the person's produce, that you should cease. And those who are stealing, we are kindly asking you all to stop. The penalty varies in terms of what the magistrate decide. You know, we cannot say, well, okay, the penalty is A or B. It's up to the magistrate to determine the penalty.
Stop Grenada's organized business crime. It's time.
All right, let's put our hands together.
Greed and Larceny, call 300.
We have heard from Mike Noel. I mean, many persons would associate Mike Noel with his PR work in the agriculture sector. And we heard from Corporal Sam, who is one of our outstanding Greed and Larceny officers. He has done a lot of work and continues some tremendous work in this regard. My last task, Mikey, is for us to unveil the jingle. I mean, you heard it play a bit, but so Mikey, can you cue up that for me now?
Let's get tough on greed and larceny. It will destroy our economy. Larceny threatens our food security. Can hurt us locally, hurt us globally. To all the buyers, ask for license from all produce sellers. To all people, 400 for police for them thieving fellas. To all the farmers, please don't steal produce from your brother. Then you're selling to traffickers, hotels and street vendors. Nah, man. Let's do all we can to stop greed and larceny. New vigilance, new laws, and a tough judiciary. Stop Grenada's organized business crime. It's time.
To report greed and larceny, call 300.
Right, so that is what we've done so far. I want to also thank members of our PR team for the work done in ensuring where we are. And I just want to reiterate the point that greed and larceny is everybody's business. Thank you very much.
Thank you, PS. You cannot listen to those testimonials and the message in the jingle and sit here and feel comfortable knowing the hurt and the pain that so many in the industry is suffering as a result of greed and larceny. Let us commit to make it our business to do our part. If you know somebody is selling stolen goods, please refrain from purchasing those items. If we all do our parts, it will go a long way in solving that dreaded problems. I want to draw your attention at this moment to a change in the program. The order of the program, we should have, as you see on the program before you, the handing over of some cultivators, but we want to do that coming to the end, probably just before the vote of thanks. So at this time, I want to invite to the podium Mr. Nigel Gibbs as we entertain the emulation of workers at this moment. This change was necessary. So we will have the activity, emulation of workers, and I'm inviting Mr. Nigel Gibbs, who will lead us in this activity. Mr. Gibbs.
Pleasant good morning to everyone. Well, I want to welcome you again on this special occasion. It's a yearly event, but it is the culmination of all the sacrifice that has been made, all the long hours of work, and all the going to extraordinary lengths to ensure that we prepare for the farmers the materials for their livelihood. And we started taking the opportunity to really recognize our workers, because they are the ones on the ground. They are the foot soldiers. They are the ones who toil through the hot sun, through the pouring rain, to make today and even the sale of plants, the planting of the plants in the field, a success. So we have a short list from all of the propagating stations around the island. And we have some retirees as well who will be leaving us this year. One has left last year. We were not able to emulate her at that time. But we have some people, 4 individuals, who have left us after, in excess of some of them, 35 and 40 years service to the Maribo Agriculture Station. So without any further ado, I would like to call their names, or if they are not present, I will ask one of my co-workers to come and collect it on their behalf. So at this time, I would like to invite Miss Louisa Cummins, and she works in the fruit crop division. The compound is separated really just physically into 2 areas. One area responsible for the propagation of the plants, and the other one responsible for all the field trials and establishing of the germplasm, and that is to the top, where we would take the planting material to propagate. So Louisa has worked for in excess of 25 years in the food crop division on wavering support, and if she could come to the podium, please. If she's not here today, I would like to ask another member from the food crop section to just come and receive this award on our behalf. And we have Ms. Desra Alexander will come on our behalf. So, yes, the minister. Yeah. So, Senator Sinclair will do the honors. Thank you, Senator. Louisa Cummins. You should be here, retirees.
That's the back way.
Yeah, I can't see.
I'm sorry.
That is not wrong. Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Sorry.
So there you go.
Who's the next person?
Next person is Alvis Williams. She's not here, so we'll get. Mr. Michael Williams, could you come down to the bottom, please? We will have, you'll have to receive 2, one for your, and one for your sister Alvis. So, Senator Sente, thank you. Stay. Yes, stay. So, the next retiree to receive an award for stellar years of service. I started here in 2014, transferred from the Maribo propagating, the Maran propagating station, sorry, and I met Alvis here, and she was already here for a 30-year period. She has worked well. She's not present with us today, but her brother, Mr. Michael Williams, will receive on her behalf. So a round of applause and thanks to Alvis in her absence for her years of committed service. The next individual who will be leaving us today, regrettably so, one of our well-established and hard-working security officer, or watchman, as we like to say. His nickname affectionately, Obia, and he has been one of the, yes, he has been one of the long-serving watchmen on the compound. His name, Mr. Clarence Obia Paul, and we want to recognize him for his long years of service. And he did not just start as being the security officer, he also worked previously in the root crop section, responsible for administering the task and so on and ensuring the supervision of the work in the field. So he has worked tremendously hard over the years. So let's applaud him, please. Ashley, yes, last one for him. Who doing Andre Ashley? Yes. We have, I'm not seeing him here today. We have Mr. Andre Lashley, and he was a clerk here, formerly the clerk. He also worked for some years. He was the person at the clerk, at the Granborough Estate. He is Vincentian by birth, but he is well adapted to Grenada because he has worked here for some 20-odd years between Granborough and the Maribo station where he last worked. So he is not present today. I would like to ask someone, Desra, if you can come and receive it on his behalf, please. Thank you. Yes, yes. Yeah, the Aiden Map person. Thank you, Senator. Job well done. At this moment, we would like to invite the Permanent Secretary to the table to deliver the other several more awards. And we have one retiree, two retirees that we continue to award. The first one is Mr. Aiden Mapp, and he worked at the Granborough Estate. He's here with us, so let's welcome him as he comes. He has been a long-standing foot soldier at the Granborough Estate. I myself has been in the agriculture sector employed for 27 plus years, and I've known him working there throughout that stint. So. The other retiree, quickly, as we move along, is Mr. Clifton Albert, and he worked at the Ashendon Cocoa Station. He has been also a very long-serving member. I mean, for my entirety of my stint in agriculture, I know this gentleman. We call him the sobriquet cop. Yes? At this time, could we ask, we'd like to invite Mr. David Hall and Mr. Michael Williams close to the podium to receive the awards. And we start with Mr. David Hall. He is a worker receiving an award for outstanding performance, especially during the COVID. Interestingly, we had a little incident with him on his way to work one morning during the COVID period where the chain was up. And so he comes to work on his bicycle religiously every day, not knowing that the chain was there. And we put some bruises on him, but he has never stopped walking. Thank you. Mr. Michael Williams. This gentleman is the brother, as we just found out, of Alvis Williams, and he is one of my special workers. His name, Michael Williams. His sobriquet, Ghana or Baku. You see, from his height, he used to be a fast bowler in the village, playing cricket in St. Andrews, so that name stuck with him. He also operates the machine, the tractor in the yard. He is our pest control officer in propagation, so he does a bit of pesticide, herbicide. and he also assists with the medium preparation. So he's well-rounded. He has been here with us now for some 30 years, and he continues to work. Thank you for your service. That's it? Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Pierce. At this time, we would like to invite our Honorable Minister to continue with the awards. For outstanding performance, we now go to Ashendon, and we want to invite Ms. Joy Victor, a slip of the tongue because Joy is here. Another long-serving worker. I want to estimate in excess of 30, 35 years in the service. She is the one responsible for all the beautiful ornamental flowers, assisting the Ashendon propagating station. Now we move to Mr. Rupert Charles, and he is from the Boulogne Cocoa Station, just down at Lafayette, affectionately called RAS, and you can see why. Has been a long-serving member. He had stints not only with the cocoa, but also with the nutmeg. GCNA, where he assisted initially in solely propagating nutmeg plantlets. So he's still at the same station and is a long-serving member. Continue your good works. From the Maran propagating station, we now invite Mr. Eric Crosby. And if he is not here, we would like to ask one of the workers from the Maran station to receive it on his behalf. Okay, someone is coming. Yes, yes, yes. So we have a young lady from Maran receiving on behalf of Mr. Crosby, and he is one of the persons responsible directly for maintaining of the cocoa germplasm and propagation of cocoa plants at Maran. We move on to another gentleman who has been a long-serving member of the facility. We go back as far as the days of the revolution, the Revo days. And now we want to invite Mr. Dudley John, who has been a long-serving member. He was in the yard 2 minutes ago. So, Mavis, could you come and receive on his behalf, please, so we keep the ball rolling. Thank you. Mr. Dudley John was originally a machine operator, so he worked predominantly in the field operating one of the Massey Ferguson plows. So he walked the length and breadth of Grenada. In fact, I am told that his father worked here before, and so he grew on this compound. So from his childhood days, he was very familiar with the settings, and he took up in his father's stead, I guess trained by his father. Now he is one of the designated drivers for distributing materials and personnel throughout, from the main office in St. George's throughout the agricultural stations on the island. So we want to thank him for his years of service and hope that he continues. Last but by no means least is Mr. Dwayne Collins. And he has been serving dual roles. He came in as a contracted worker in around 2008 at the Boulogne Cocoa Station. And he was one of the gentlemen responsible. Dwayne, are you on the compound? So could someone close by just receive it on his behalf, please? Dan may have come. Yeah. He has been employed with the Boulogne Cocoa Station, but has just around the COVID, when we needed to increase our efficiency on the Maribo station, he was transferred to the station, and where he's attached now to the root crop section, and he's been working there since the lockdown. So let's congratulate him. Thank you, Minister. And I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to present. PS, to making all of the plaques available, to our workers. And we will continue doing our best to ensure that the farmers are satisfied with the level of material that are delivered to them year to year. Thank you all.
Minister Ugunfa, because I'm about to call you back to the podium to do an award. I think it is in support to Adult and Teen Challenge. Minister, the podium is yours again.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In my earlier remarks, I did speak to my brother, Pastor Jude. I just want to read a bit here. It's a real pleasure to make this presentation to Pastor Jude Hector and Adult and Teen Challenge Grenada. Since its founding, the ATCG has been implementing drug prevention and rehabilitation programs and providing certified skills and training and counseling for youth and adult alike. The ATCG has recently completed the implementation of a certified training program in rabbit husbandry for 15 young persons. Rabbit production represents an important part of the overall strategy for increasing livestock production. The production of rabbit meat is a very cost-effective way of providing quality protein for dietary needs. Additionally, the demand for this meat within the tourism and hospitality sector provides a good business for those involved in its production. The ministry is committed to supporting initiatives that foster youth involvement in agriculture. We therefore, Pastor Jude, commit to working with organizations like yours, the Adult and Teen Challenge Grenada, and working with your organization in particular, that encourage youth participation in agriculture and promulgates initiatives that will engender greater development of the agricultural sector. And we do commit, Pastor Jude, to providing the production kits, mats for housing, materials for housing, rabbits, and bags of feed for those who start in the production. So I want to invite you here this morning. Maybe you can say a few words on the program. I know you didn't expect to say a few words, and then I will say something after that. Let's give an applause to Pastor Jude Hector.
Thank you, Minister, and it's really a privilege and honor to be here this morning just to receive this. I really want to applaud the Ministry of Agriculture. In fact, I'm quoting the Minister of Agriculture now in my speeches. You know, one of the things he says is, if agriculture goes wrong, nothing else has the opportunity to go right. I hope I'm quoting you correctly. I know you're quoting somebody else. But really, I really appreciate this on behalf of our students. Some of them are actually special needs students from the Grenada Council of the Disabled. And so we're really excited that this is really the beginning of, I would say, a new season for us as an organization, but also for Grenada. I'm seeing the emphasis that's being placed now on agriculture, and I'm saying we're getting it right. So I applaud the ministry, and I say thank you very much for supporting us in this way. Thank you very much.
So on behalf of the ministry, we commit to providing the kits for those students who have undertaken the training, and I commit again to working with you to ensure that it is successful. I knew many of the young people, as you're well aware. I've seen the work he's done at Her Majesty's prisons and in other areas, and I do know that our assistance will not be in vain. I thank you and make that clear.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Minister. Thank you, Pastor Hector. At this time, we want to do the handover of the cultivators, but we'll do that as a symbolic handover. The machines are on the way, but we will not wait for the actual cultivators to come here to delay you any further. But we have the groups that will be receiving these cultivators. I will call you and I will ask you to come forward so everybody could know who you are. And I will ask the minister just to sorry for that. Just program instructions here. So let I just call the Grand Bocalet Juvenile Center representative to come forward. We have the Brothers Farmers Association, Mongrambi Cooperative, Shambo Farmers, just asking the representatives from these various organizations. We have the St. Mark's Progressive Farmers, person from the St. Mark's. I see the Rucane Farmers. I don't know if it's an association, but I just have it as Rucane Farmers. See somebody from the back coming. Bang Tranquil Farmer Group. And I'm seeing also Lawrence Matthew. Can I also ask you? Oh, so Lawrence is here. I'm not familiar with the names, so sorry for this. I want to invite the Honorable Excellency Wei Hongqian, the Chinese ambassador, to just come and just greet. We do not have the machine, but what we want to do, we just want to. So he is inviting the minister to accompany him to just do a symbolic handover, just meet, greet, shake the hands of these persons, and probably if the machines reach before we conclude, they can do a photo op. They can do a photo op. So they want to take an official photo. Official photo. The person, yeah. All right. Thank you. Thank you. You will appreciate the challenge we have had this morning with the inclement weather in doing all the logistics and getting everything here. What we would have planned is for the tillers or the cultivators to be here actually, but we had a delay in that. But should they arrive within the next 5 minutes or so, we can have probably a photo op with the machines here. But I guess as much you appreciate what we would have done. Let us just give these organizations a round of applause. A round of applause. We almost to the end of this morning's activity. It's a while we would have kept you here, and it's not my intention to keep you here much further. But we have one bit of announcement, and I want to invite Ms. Haynes to the podium just for a brief moment to make that announcement. Ms. Haynes.
Morning again. I just wanted to make a short announcement related to the sale of plants that I neglected to mention in my report. I wanted to inform the farmers, that we are experiencing a delay in the preparation of plants at the Ashinden station. So that's a station where we propagate mainly the ornamental plants. And so we will start the sale of plants on 3 of the stations from the 3rd of August. So that's Maran Station, Bolong, and here at Maribou. So the date that we will start sale of plants at Ashinden will be announced via our Facebook page, and we will send out some sort of announcement via the radio. So just for you to note that we have a slight delay in the preparation of plants at Ashinden, and so the sale of plants will begin at a later date on that station. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Haynes. So probably we was just a little too excited in doing the, the handovers of the tiller, because as soon as we finish, here they are. So we will have them offloaded, and I will just invite the Chinese ambassador and the members of the group so we can do a photo op. And what I would have forgot to mention, the reason why we have the Chinese ambassador here, these tillers that you are seeing before us, they are donated by the People's Republic of China, and we are very grateful. Many of them have been given before, and their contribution to the sector is significant. We hear the testimonies of many farmers, what they're able to do now with these machines. So as they offload them, I will invite the various persons who would have just come up just to have an official photo op again with the tillers. So the various groups, can you come forward? I think it will be wonderful to have a photo up with the tillers. So the PR persons will direct you accordingly to get that photo shot. All right, so thank you again. We are almost at the end of today's activity. One bit of announcement as we conclude. I am told that persons interested in making application for the Land Bank Program Diamond Estate site, there are application forms available, and they can be received from Mr. Joseph Noel. So if you are interested in this, you can contact Mr. Joseph Noel. I saw him somewhere earlier, but I'm being told he's at that direction there. So any interested persons or group, you can contact Mr. Noel on the outside. Application forms are available. Before I call Mr. Thompson to do the vote of thanks, I just want to implore upon you 2 bits of information. When we are finished with the official ceremony, which we are about to now, there are some booths, I think you're seeing them to my right, exhibition. I would like for each and every one of us to patronize, to take a look. I think the display there will be very instructive, so I encourage us to do this. There are also refreshments available, so please have what is prepared for us. Again, the task is mine to invite Mr. Thompson to do the vote of thanks for us. Let us welcome him as he comes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and Excellencies, special invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. As I sat this morning listening to the different deliberations and the piece of information that the propagating station has been distributing plans for over 50 years, that in itself is instructive. And I thank God for Google. I went and searched, and I saw in the archives of the British there is a photo of a gentleman at this station, an agronomist that was recruited by the British government to prepare nutmeg seedlings in 1961. So this facility has been in existence for over 60 years. So we should be grateful for that. Also, as I was preparing to come here this morning, I saw the rain was falling, and for many people, the rain is an inconvenience. You know, they think it's going to be muddy, they're going to get wet. But for the farmers, the rain is a sign of blessings, refreshing. It's a sign that you will have a good harvest. So we want to thank God for the rain this morning. And the word thanks, it stems from a Latin word that is pronounced tong gere. And it speaks of a favorable thought or feeling. It speaks of goodwill. It speaks of a kindly thought or feeling entertained towards anyone for favor or services. And today it is my belief that for all of you that are gathered here today, you're also having some favorable thoughts and feelings of goodwill and appreciation for the people who have worked very hard to make this 2021 plant distribution ceremony a memorable one. So on behalf of the organizing committee, it is my pleasure to extend tong gere to Mr. Jimmy Lindsay, the chairman of today's program, to Reverend Joseph Raybon for the invocation and the pronouncements of God's blessings on today's activity, to Ms. Anisha Howard for her splendid singing of the national anthem, playing of the national anthem and the special music rendition, to Ms. Alison Haynes for giving the overview of the roles and functions of the Agronomy Division, Propagation and Plant Distribution Program for 2021, to P.S. Elvis Moraine for launching the Stop Praedia Larceny campaign, to the Honorable Peter David for his feature address, opening of the 2021 plant distribution season and the handover of the support to the Adult and Youth Challenge. We want to thank you for your vision casting and your commitment to the sector, and also for your admonition that we cannot waste resources. To the Senator Roderick Sinclair, the farmer and fishers representative in the Senate, we want to thank you for gracing us with your presence and giving your assistance as you distributed the awards. His Excellency Wei Hongtian, Ambassador of the People's Republic of China, for the handover of the cultivators to farmers in the Pho Extension District. Sir, we want you to please convey to your government and people Grenada's appreciation for these tools which will make farmers' production much more easier. To Mr. Gibbs, the Supervisor of Propagation, for the emulation of the workers. Your labor has not gone unnoticed. To all the staff of the propagating stations across the island who has worked tirelessly during the COVID period to ensure that farmers and the Grenadian public in general receives high quality plants to continue cultivating of fruits and tree crops, while at the same time ensuring our environment remains safe. We want to say thank you. On behalf of the Minister, the PS, the management team, and other staff of the ministry, we extend our appreciation for your labor and sacrifices. To those of you who are here as special invited guests, the reps from CADI, ICA, SIAP, the commodity boards, the Farmers Organization, the UNDP rep, the MNIB, General Manager, the Chinese Agricultural Mission, and to all the staff of the ministry, to the farmers, we want to say to you, these plants you are receiving, we want you to take care of them. We want to ask you to reflect on the love and the passion that went into ensuring that they are properly handed over to you, and to make sure that they reach the stage where you can enjoy a harvest from them. We want to thank the government of Grenada, finally, for the huge financial resources that has been contributed to this sector and to this propagation program this year. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Finally, thank you, Mr. Thompson. And this brings to an end the official ceremony for the 2021 Plant Propagation and Distribution session. I invite you to patronize and have a look at the facility. As I said earlier, you have the tents or the booths to my right. You are encouraged to participate. Thank you. Thank you.
The Croton scale insect, a new threat to our agricultural production, is now creating major damage to several plants. Mango, soursop, plums, guava, avocado, and crotons are among the main ones affected. Excessive sooty mold, black blight, is associated with this pest. Take action now. Cut and burn infested fruits and shoots. Do not move infested materials to other areas. Treat with horticultural oils and recommended insecticides. Request assistance from the Ministry of Agriculture. Follow all safety protocols when burning trash or applying pesticides. A message from the Ministry of Agriculture.